What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over everything there is to know about the next Fortnite season because we are getting super close to the launch of whatever next season is going to be. We'll get into that in a moment. But as always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what you think of this. And make sure you stay tuned for a decent amount of the video because there is potential that zero build isn't going to be here next season, and I know a lot of my audience is zero build players mainly. So when leaks initially started to come out for the next Fortnite season, we initially thought it would kind of be a month-long throwback season to Chapter 1, starting at Chapter 1 Season 5 and going until the end of Season X in that month-long period. So basically week by week, or a little under a week for each season, going from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, and then probably into the black hole event, and then Sloan and the heists people would try to change something with the black hole, whatever occurred during the black hole event, to try to like change the outcome of Fortnite, and then that would be what ends up being Chapter 5. It's the aftermath of the black hole. And it was also reported by leakers in the scene who have like a really good track record recently that the map for Chapter 4 Season 5, or next season, would be the Chapter 4 island, but 60% of it would be Chapter 1, like POIs, and then 40% of it would be Chapter 4. And I tried to emphasize this as much as possible in videos or whenever I talked about this on stream, because I think a lot of people were getting their hopes up for the OG map, and I thought that would lead to a lot of disappointment if next season started and it wasn't the OG map. You know, if that 60-40 leak was correct, and you expected 100% old map, then those people were going to be like super disappointed, you know? Whereas like if you expect the 60-40 and then it turns out to be 100% OG map, I feel like that's less of a, like people are just going to be more excited at that point. It's kind of like, you know, have lower expectations and you're more likely to be happy. I also didn't really think we would get the entirety of the OG map. I thought it was more likely that we would get a mix of Chapter 1 and Chapter 4. But it seems like we're going to be getting the entirety of the Chapter 1 map. So Kato Thorne's time machine also was set to the launch date of Chapter 1 Season 5, and it started to bring props from Chapter 1 Season 5 to the island, like the Durr Burger head, the tomato head, the truck and Oasis sign, and the Dusty Diner sign. These are all at Frenzy Fields, which kind of further confirmed this mashup of Chapter 1 and Chapter 4 island. And then last week, or towards the end of the last week, a few days ago, creators started to get packages which further confirmed these leaks. There's pens representing each season from Season 5 to X. So there's a pen for Season 5, a pen for Season 6, a pen for 7, 8, 9, and X, and then one in the middle that just said like Fortnite OG. There was a vinyl like CD or record which had the OG map printed on it, and then there was a note which said, "Hello Salva." That was the creator this was sent to. "Thanks for supporting us from the start and for being a part of Fortnite's origins. Now we have the opportunity to begin again. Now there's only one question: where are we dropping?" And so that kind of not only confirmed the previous leaks, but that vinyl record made people think the entirety of the OG map was returning, because the initial theory was old map with each kind of week of the season, or a little under a week, an accelerated schedule of the events of Chapter 1 from Season 5 to Season X, and then all of those pens are from Season 5 to Season X. Like, a lot of things were just lining up for it not to be true. And then today, Wenzo came out, who was initially the person that said the 60-40 thing, said that the 60% thing was that a mistranslation early on, and that at this point, they expect the entirety of the OG map to be returning, or the entirety of the Chapter 1 map to be returning from Season 5 to Season X. And so this got even more people talking, and it turns out that sprinting and mantling are set to be disabled for Season 27, which is next season, and then enabled again for Season 28, which would be Chapter 5, Season 1, and there's like lines of code that leakers were able to find that indicate this. I have no idea how any of this stuff works. I just, you know, certain leakers and certain news accounts tend to have a good track record, and that's what I go off, basically. So it's likely that sprinting and mantling are going to be disabled next season, and this kind of makes sense if you think about it. If they are going for an entire throwback season with the old map and the old loot pool, and then kind of an accelerated schedule of the events from Chapter 1, Season 5 to Season X, it would somewhat make sense to remove sprinting and mantling because they weren't there in Chapter 1. I disagree, however. I think kind of keep the map and the loot pool the same, but take quality of life features from modern Fortnite that we're used to. So like we had this with the creative remakes of the old map. Those fell off for many reasons. Part of it was the player count, part of it was the stability, but also the lack of sprinting and mantling. It just felt incredibly bad to be used to having sprinting and mantling for over a year and then go back to not having it. And that's kind of how I feel this is going to go. A lot of people are going to have their hopes up a lot for this. And then without sprinting and mantling, I feel like it's just going to feel very bad. And there's a lot of quality of life features from the past that, how far are they willing to go? I think you keep sprinting and mantling. Personally, I think that would just be better. Like, make the old map and loot pool, but make it more modernized for the today player base. Back in Season 5, we didn't have custom keybinds. Are they going to go back on that? The controller settings and aim assist was completely different. We didn't have linear in the game, and the way aim assist worked is you could spam your aim down sights button to snap to nearby targets. Like, if you were near somebody, you could just spam aim in and it would, like, snap to them. It was really overpowered. Are they going to go back to that old aim assist? Because that's more, in line with how it was back then. Also, skill-based matchmaking wasn't a thing in Chapter 1. Like, there's a lot of, things they've added after the fact that weren't there in Chapter 1, which are probably going to remain next season, but I just don't know why they removed sprinting and mantling, but keep that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's either like do all or nothing, but they're going for some weird half measure, and I feel like you might as well just keep sprinting and mantling because that pacing is going to be off when it first drops, and a lot of people are not going to like it. This has also led to a lot of people thinking that zero build will potentially be disabled for next season. As, zero build wasn't a thing in Chapter 1 at all, but also if we're going back to the OG map, there's a lot of talk that the OG map would be terrible for zero build, and that it's partially true and untrue. It is to an extent, but like things like portaforts were in the game. People didn't build in the super early days of the game. That map wasn't as good for zero build as like the current one would be, but I do think it would be somewhat playable. I kind of push back against the idea that there needs to be cover everywhere all the time. If you navigate the map in such a way where you're caught in a wide open area, that's kind of on you. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people saying the old map would be terrible for zero build and it wouldn't work. They have somewhat of a point. That was another reason why I thought it would be a hybrid map, because that would just make sense, But the map itself is not going to be good for zero build, right? Like, we can all somewhat agree on that. But also sprinting and mantling, like not having those things in zero build would be a nightmare. Like fighting around a house and someone's just on top because they happened to like get there earlier on without mantling and without sprinting. I do not think zero build would be playable. So if they are going to be disabling sprinting and mantling and having a map that's less ideal for zero build or not very ideal at all for zero build, I would be surprised if the zero build game mode sticks around. My thoughts on zero build potentially being removed is that, like, I play both modes every day. If you watch my stream, I typically play both builds and zero build, so it's not the biggest deal to me one way or the other. Like, it stinks for my YouTube content, but like, it is what it is. I think it's really weird, considering the main point of doing something like this is to draw a lot of attention to the game. So like the way the season will be is nostalgia for a month into the end of Chapter 4 event to the start of Chapter 5. So it's like they're trying to draw a lot of people's attention on the game and potentially bring back a lot of old players who quit the game for this nostalgia season to get them interested in Fortnite before the launch of Chapter 5. That's basically the goal, right? And I think that could work, and I think that makes sense. You definitely are going to get a lot of people paying attention to the game who haven't for years. Like, I've had a lot of people who played Fortnite in the past, like my friends, reach out to me recently and be like, yo, is this real? Is this actually happening? Like, it definitely will get a lot of attention on the game for sure. But I think a lot of those old players or a lot of those returning players would be more likely to be interested in zero build. Like, the building mechanic is hard to just come back to if you haven't played for years. So getting rid of zero build while also trying to get a lot of people back into the game, I just don't think makes very much sense at all, personally. Like, it makes very little sense to me. I think if you get... I think 80% of the people returning to the game would probably prefer to play zero build. And then also, for the past 2 years or so, zero build has been a part of the game. So just removing it for a season, even if it's only a month, like, it's not really that long of a time in the grand scheme of things, it's really weird. And I wonder if they're going to do something else for zero build during this month. Like, if there's going to be, the old map playlist, and then maybe like zero build players can still play on the Chapter 4 map for that month. I'm not really sure. I think it's really weird. If you are a zero build player, let me know down in the comments below, like, what you think of this. Are you going to play this season anyways if there's no zero build? Will you quit entirely? Or, will you just quit for this season and then come back for Chapter 5? Also, let me know if you would like to see me make a video kind of about like some of the basics of building and like some beginner tips for building. There is skill-based matchmaking in the game, so if you've never played build mode, it's not like you're going to be thrown against people that are just like great at like, cranking 90s and piece control and like fight that box fight really well. You're not going to be playing against that. I have friends who play build mode every day and their lobbies look nothing like mine. Like part of the matchmaking algorithm in the game takes into account like how well or how fast you build. Before zero build even came out, there was people that would make new accounts and then never build on those accounts, and their lobbies looked like zero build before zero build even existed. So I feel like a lot of people, you shouldn't have the expectation that your lobbies are just going to be the sweatiest thing ever. If there is no zero build, but also I think a lot of zero build players, like just from my interaction and talking to people, is like they dislike building more than they like zero build. Like it's not even that they enjoy zero build or think it's great, they just hate building from what I've seen. So I don't think this is going to go over well for the zero build community at all if they do end up removing zero build. But basically at this point in time, it's expected that the entirety of the OG map and loot pool will return. They've been updating a lot of weapon models for old weapons coming into this season. And then it will cycle from Season 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into X over the course of that month. And then we'll go into the end of Chapter 4 live event. And then something probably will happen which led to the black hole, or like they'll change something to where the black hole doesn't matter. And then, the aftermath of that event will be what brings Chapter 5 to start. So yeah, I'm very excited for this personally. Like I said, I play both modes every day, so it's not the end of the world to me if there's no zero build, but I get why a lot of people would be frustrated about that, and I get why a lot of people who maybe would have returned for this sort of thing or had a lot of interest in this sort of thing don't feel like learning how to build again and thought they could just play zero build, and that would have been convenient. This also explains why there was leaks of the volcanic rock getting worked on or whatever early in Chapter 4, because there was a volcano on the Chapter 1 map in Chapter 1 Season 8, so it was probably for that. Also, there was a desert biome that people thought was going to be a part of Season 3 of this chapter, and that didn't happen, and that's probably for the desert that's going to be on the Chapter 1 map that they're, using for next season. So there's a lot of leaks that in the past didn't add up that make sense now with this old throwback map being a thing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm very interested to read the comments on this video and see kind of if you're still going to play it and give it a shot, or if you're just like completely off it, or kind of what your perspective on it is if there is no zero build. As we hear more about this, if there is anything that comes up about like zero build 100% being removed, or what they're going to do for the zero build community in that time, I'll definitely make a video about it. As always, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you like some more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.